Hi, I'm attorney Jack Inman, and today I'm going to talk about what an agreed divorce is. That term is thrown around all the time, and it can use a couple different flavors. Uncontested divorce, agreed divorce, those are the same thing in my book. A lot of people don't know exactly what that means. They think they want an agreed divorce, but they don't know what the pros and cons are, and frankly, they don't even know what an agreed divorce is. So I'm going to break that down. A divorce can essentially come in two different flavors, right? Contested and uncontested, also known as agreed and not agreed. Some attorneys may define this differently because there's not really a statutory definition of what agreed is and what contested is. But in my book, an agreed divorce is when both parties sign off on all of the documents before you file them with the court, right? So from the court's perspective, they're receiving a whole bunch of documents that have wife's signature and husband's signature, and everything's agreed. And it's just a matter of the court reviewing what is in front of the court and deciding whether it's appropriate, whether it's fair and equitable, and whether it's in the best interest of any minor children that may be at play. And if that's the case, judge signs off on it, and you're done with the case. So, agreed divorces can be quick. They are, in fact, the quickest way to get a divorce. They also can involve the least amount of headache, right? If you're going through a contested divorce that can drag on for months, sometimes even years, can involve numerous contested hearings, and that can take a toll on your psyche. But contested divorces sometimes are the only route to go, right? If you cannot get both parties to sign off on the paperwork before you file it, then a contested divorce is your only option. Now, when should you consider doing an agreed divorce? Well, you should only consider it when you and your spouse can agree on all of the terms. You guys agree on what to do with all of your assets, all of your debts, what to do with your children, and you're getting a fair shake on everything, right? It doesn't make sense to sign an agreed divorce if you're not getting a fair shake. Sometimes it's much better to go the contested route, right? To file and have your spouse served and so on and so forth. Because if your spouse won't agree to something that you think is fair, then don't sign it, right? You could wind up, sure, saving some headache by doing an agreed divorce, but you could wind up losing a whole lot of time with your kids. You could wind up losing a whole lot of money that you're entitled to, and you could get saddled with debt that you shouldn't be saddled with. So, an agreed divorce is when everybody signs off on the paperwork before it's filed. You should only do that if both parties are in agreement on everything and you think that the agreement is fair. Otherwise, it makes sense to file contested and to try to negotiate things out later down the road. In worst case, you wind up having a trial. And that is what it is. That's not the end of the world. And sometimes that's the only option that you have if you're going to try to get a divorce. Now, if you need help deciding if an agreed divorce or a contested divorce is right for your individual case, give my office a call. We do both. We handle agreed divorces all the time. The number one thing that we see are that people agree to things that are not in their best interest. And so sometimes we will encourage people to hit the pause button on that agreed divorce and instead consider filing contested. Other times we see people that want to file contested, and then I sit down and talk to them and I realize that they're telling me their spouse is in full agreement with everything that they want. And I say, why don't we just try to do this by agreement first, see how it goes? Sometimes it works out and everything is done by agreement and it's easy peasy, at least as far as divorces go, and they can move on with their life. So if you're considering the two, if you're going through a divorce and you're not sure which one's the right option for you, give my office a call. We can sit down, talk about your unique factual situation, and I'll walk you through the line of thinking and kind of help you come to a decision with regards to which option you should choose. My office number is 423-777-8396. We service all of the Tri-Cities, Tennessee area. Hope to see you soon.